and his backbenchers on a work to rule. Could the Prime Minister...
Keir Starmer's leadership has repeatedly drawn fire for sounding careful, rehearsed, and overly controlled. Yet every so often, the polish slips, and what shows through is tense, rattled, uncomfortable, and visibly under pressure. So just how far does it go? Let's take a look. It unfolded in Parliament, the very place where a Prime Minister is expected to project authority, not end up as the joke. Graham Stewart stood up, delivered a cutting congratulations, and likened Labour's manifesto to the salt path, eloquent but fiction. The chamber didn't just react, it exploded. This wasn't routine noise or scattered jeers. It was loud, rolling laughter that swallowed the room and left the moment hanging in the air.
Graham Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could I begin by warmly congratulating the Prime Minister on his first year in office, acknowledge that the Labour manifesto was beautifully written, deeply moving, and like that other great blockbuster of hope and redemption, The Salt Path, a total pack of lies. With joblessness, inflation, and debt ballooning, his personal ratings collapsing, and his backbenchers on a work to rule, could the Prime Minister... Could the Prime Minister recommend...
Come on, let's get on with the question.
Could the Prime Minister recommend a summer recess read in order to take all our minds away from the calamitous journey on which he and the Chancellor have embarked?
That laughter cuts deeper than boos ever could. Booing shows they take you seriously enough to challenge. Laughter shows they don't take you seriously at all. Starmer's reaction only amplified the humiliation. He froze, shuffled papers, and seemed to wait for the moment to pass rather than seize control. No sharp comeback. No commanding tone. Just silence. Parliament is supposed to be a stage for a Prime Minister to project authority and vision. Instead, Starmer looked like a guest crashing his own show. That's why the clip went viral, not because of policy, but because a leader visibly shrank under scrutiny. A year into power, he should be dominating the room. Instead, the room dominated him. And while domestic politics is brutal, the global stage is merciless. During a London visit exchange, Donald Trump dismissed the city's mayor as nasty and terrible, praised Nigel Farage warmly, and offhandedly added, "Keir's a friend of mine," spoken with the casual tone of recalling a golf buddy, not addressing the British Prime Minister.
Will you go to London, or are you worried it's no longer about it?
About what?
Will you visit London during the state visit?
I will. I'm not a fan of your mayor.
Why not?
I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But the nasty person, I think he's done. I think he's
a friend of mine, right?
No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah.
Would you so MP Nigel Farage has asked Parliament's being recalled when you left.
Well, I like Nigel. I mean, Nigel, as you know, is a friend of mine. Nigel's done very well. He's a friend of mine. And Keir's...
Starmer's response spoke volumes. He attempted to shift the topic, but his body language betrayed him. Eyes down, rigid posture, and that uneasy half-smile politicians flash when they know the optics are disastrous. Trump, loved or loathed, commands a room effortlessly. Starmer in that moment looked like a supporting actor. This wasn't about Trump being Trump, it was about how quickly Starmer receded. A decisive leader would have pushed back, defended London's mayor, or at least reinforced Britain's authority. Instead, he seemed to silently hope the conversation would move on. On social media, the focus quickly shifted from Trump's jibe to Starmer's inability to manage it. In politics, perception is everything, and this painted him as someone sidelined by louder, more dominant personalities. Viewers were left wondering, if he can't hold his own against Trump, how will he tackle real global crises? The pattern continues, he sometimes undermines his own credibility. Asked if he would ever use private health care for a family member facing a long NHS wait, Starmer replied, "No, never." On paper it reads as principled, a PM committed to public health, but to the public, it came off as ideological, rigid, and detached. Later he denied ever making that statement, deepening the confusion.
You have said that you would rather a family member die in the NHS than have them treated privately. Now, I find this
No, I
claim...
didn't say that. I did not say that.
You did make a point, though, that you'd choose NHS care over private care.
Yeah, please, when you finish your question, but I did not say that.
I find this slightly disingenuous.
I didn't say it.
Okay. Well, you said you would rather the NHS than private, and I feel like that's disingenuous because, A, you have talked about leaning into the private sector to bring down the waiting list, and B, if you're so committed to the NHS as it is, how can you be the man to bring radical reform to it?
Well, I think as we discussed last time, as you know, my wife works in the NHS. She's in one of the big London hospitals, so this is a constant discussion between us. My mum was a nurse.
Starmer came across as someone who prioritizes political points over real-world consequences. That awkward exchange didn't just ignite discussion, it solidified his image as robotic and out of touch with the concerns and emotions of everyday voters. But before we dive deeper, are you enjoying the video? If so, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exclusive coverage of the seismic shifts shaking British politics. Now back to the action. The next moment hit hard, delivered by Kemi Badenoch, one of Parliament's sharpest debaters. During a debate on moral courage, she turned her focus directly on Starmer, accusing Labour of bending to every passing trend before landing the knockout line. He lacks the backbone to make the tough calls.
Mr. Speaker, he's clearly so uncomfortable talking about this subject. Yes. This is a choice between a Conservative Party that stood up for common sense and a Labour Party that bent the knee to every passing fad. This is a question about moral courage, Mr. Speaker, about doing the right thing, even when it is difficult. And the truth is, he doesn't have the...
The chamber exploded as Labour MPs roared, Conservatives joined in, and Bardock refused to flinch. The strike landed because it wasn't careless. It cut straight into a long-held view that Starmer hesitates, plays it safe, and shies away from real political risk. His response only deepened that image. He went quiet, eyes fixed on his notes, visibly uneasy. Politics is performance and Parliament is its biggest stage. That day, Bardock commanded it, while Starmer looked like someone blindsided mid-scene. The 5-second clip raced across the internet because it compressed an expanding narrative into a single, cutting exchange. Leadership isn't just policy, it's presence, and in that instant Bardock had complete control while Starmer appeared to have none. Still, it's fair to say he isn't incapable under pressure. He can respond. So let's give him another moment. If there's one phrase Labour figures should master, it's working class, the party's historic backbone and claimed identity. Yet when asked who he actually defines as working class, Starmer faltered, drifting from generic praise of hard-working people to safe, broad descriptions that carefully avoided a clear definition.
Describe yourself as working class. Sir Keir, define working class.
No, working class is families that work for their living, earn their money through going out to work every day, not through other means.
Middle classes do that?
Well, working class families have the ordinary hope to get on in life. I mean, this has been
Don't
the story.
Middle classes have that?
Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do.
So what's the distinction?
People will say to me, "Well, look here. You've come a long way.
Yeah, but you went to state school.
Yeah, but that is the ordinary hope of the working class, which is to have a decent education, to get a decent secure job, to get a car, to get have a nice holiday, to have
Isn't that the middle class too, Sir Keir? Everything you just listed? No?
It is. Yeah, it is. And that's why many people go on their life journey from what you might call working class to middle class.
The issue went far beyond word choice, it was symbolic. Critics seized on it as evidence that he's disconnected from the very people Labour claims to stand for. If a Labour leader can't clearly explain who they're standing up for, what does that reveal about their direction? Analysts said Starmer's hesitation made him appear overly calculated, as if he were shaping his response to avoid offending anyone. It felt politically safe rather than genuine. Online reactions exploded, with some joking about his uncertainty and others accusing him of losing Labour's core identity. For voters already doubtful of his link to everyday people, the moment landed hard. Instead of showing confidence and clarity, Starmer showed uncertainty on a question his predecessors would have answered instantly. It wasn't just an awkward moment, it exposed a visible strain in Labour's identity under his leadership. Do moments like this show Starmer is drifting away from ordinary people, or is he turning into more of a political target than a leader? Share your thoughts in the comments. Can he bounce back from moments like these, or has real damage been done? If you want more videos like this, like, share, and subscribe for updates on British politics and the forces shaping it. Until next time, stay tuned.